Welcome again to a devotion from the Reverend William J. Today we are looking at Psalm 55, verse 6. And it says, "And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove, I would fly away and be at rest." William J. writes, whose exclamation is this? It is obviously the language of a man not at rest. And if we read the preceding and following verses, we shall find that the complainant was indeed really in trouble. And so are many. It seems inseparable from humanity. The man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. But who was this man? One of those deemed the darlings of Providence, a man who had experienced one of the most marvelous revolutions in recorded history. For he was originally nothing more than a shepherd, but he rose from obscurity and became a hero, a renowned conqueror, a powerful monarch. God had given him the necks of his enemies and the hearts of his subjects, and we might have supposed him satisfied with victory and glory and dominion and riches. But from the midst of all of this he sighed, "Oh, that I had wings like a dove, or that I would fly away and be at rest." For all his aggrandizements, how much did he suffer from ruthlessness and wickedness? How much from some of his own officers, and especially his nephew Joab, the commander-in-chief? After rearing his fine palace in cedar, he could not for a length of time take possession because he was sick to death, and week after week the grave was ready for him. And suppose they had brought out his crown and imposed it upon him, would this have eased an aching head or relieved the anguish of a disorderly body? What is an ornamented room in the rage of a fever? And his own house was not so with God. What a distracted and wretched family! His daughter is humbled. The incestuous brother is murdered. The murderer becomes a traitor and drives his father, as well as his king, into exile. In his flight he is told that Ahithophel, his bosom friend and counselor, is among the conspirators with Absalom. Who can tell what sorrows corroded him? The heart knows its own bitterness. There are griefs that we cannot pour even into the bosom of intimacy. There are thorns in the nest that pierce through the down that lines it, and are known and felt only by the occupier. Did David never regret the loss of the privacy of Bethlehem? The spirit that is in us lusts to envy. We are prone to think that though generally men are born to trouble, there are some exempted individuals, that though commonly considered, this earth is a vale of tears, there are still some privileged spots. And it is worthy to notice that these exceptions always belong to others, and always to those who are above us. But is the servant happy? He will be when he is a master. Is the master happy? He will be when he is rich. Is the rich man happy? He will be when he is ennobled and has distinction as well as gold. Is the nobleman happy? He will be when he is a king. Is the king happy? Oh, says he, oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then I would fly away and be at rest. Let us remember this and not be afraid when one is made rich and the glory of his house is increased. Let us check the risings in our hearts of ambition and seek not the great things to ourselves. Let us learn in whatsoever state we are to be content and follow the moderation of the patriarch who asked only for bread to eat and clothes to put on, and a safe return to his father's house in peace. Happiness does not depend on external condition, but the state of mind. Paul was happy in prison, while Nero was miserable in his palace. Haman, after telling his wife and his friends all about his promotion and glory, adds, "Yet all this brings me nothing, as long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate." On that night, could not the king sleep? And what about sleep? Sleep, sound, wholesome, refreshing sleep, is least found where fortune smiles. Sleep visits the early rising, the temperate, the diligent. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet. The wretched indeed sleep forsakes. But where does sleep find them? Here is one of them. The ruler of 127 provinces on that night that the king could not sleep. Ahab, the monarch of Israel, is melancholy and sick and cannot eat, because he cannot obtain Naboth's little parcel of ground for a garden of herbs, and neither his happiness nor health could go on till his worthy helpmate taught him to gratify his wish by the destruction of the noble-minded peasant. How wise was the answer of the Shunammite woman when Elisha offered to speak to her to the king, when she said, I dwell among my own people. If we are not content with such things as we have, we shall never be satisfied with such things as we desire. If there is a difference in outward conditions, it works against those who fill the higher ones. Their want of occupation, the listlessness, far worse than any labor they feel. The little relish they have of natural refreshments, their sufferings from weak nerves and timid spirits, their squeamishness and anxieties about their health, the softening of this position by indulgence and ease, so that they are unable to endure, their sensibility under trifling vexations which others despise, their leisure to brood over and hatch an offspring of dangers, the envies to which they are liable, their cares, fears, responsibilities, independence, the unreasonable things expected from them, and their inability to give satisfaction to the expectants. Where shall I end? These methods and other things are enough to show the poor and the busy that those who are placed above them are proportionately taxed. Neither, however, is the opposite position the most desirable. As far as happiness depends on any outward condition, there lies between the extremes of prosperity and adversity, poverty and wealth, the most eligible choice. If life is a pilgrimage, man the traveler is best prepared for advancing, not when the shoe pinches or when it is large and loose, but when it fits. Not when he is destitute of a staff or when he has a large bundle of planks to carry, but when he has one which affords him assistance without encumbrance. Therefore, pray. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food suitable for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, Who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of God in vain. Thanks for listening.